Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be looking at an article which was on The Independent, a British online newspaper, which has taken quite a hit over the last few years, basically down to the fact that it has to have gone online. I'm pretty sure it isn't printed in a paper form anymore. There was a lot of job losses last year because they just weren't making the revenue. And I think it might be down to stories like this. Now, there will be a link in the description to the article, but do remember that this article was published on The Independent, but was also deleted, which is why I'm using an archived version. So, let's go through it and give some thoughts. The title is Yes, it is okay to punch a Nazi like Richard Spencer in the face. And then the subtext is, opponents of the meme to end all memes say that in a democracy we should be able to vigorously debate our views free from the threat of violence. To this I say, you try having a reasonable discussion with Richard Spencer. So because we can't have a reasonable discussion with Richard Spencer, therefore we must hit him in the face. Bit dodgy, isn't it? One of the key things about debates, if you've ever watched a religious debate, or if you've ever watched a scientific debate, the debate is not there to convince the other person of your way of looking at it. Generally, what you try and focus on is trying to engage the audience, and get the audience to understand where you're coming from. If you are talking to somebody or debating somebody who believes in white supremacy or believes in an ideology and their job depends on it, their fame depends on it, and everything in their life depends on it, you're generally not going to convince that person that they are wrong. But what you might do is people who follow them, who decide to watch it because they like Richard Spencer, or maybe they just want to hear what Richard Spencer has to say. What you can do with that is you can convince people in the audience. The debate is never about the debaters. It is about the message that the audience gets from it, and therefore, basically, what they can wean off of it. But yeah, the fact that you can't have a reasonable discussion with somebody, even though you have no idea. I mean, Kirsty Major, who I have looked up, she has a wonderful Twitter. But basically, do you think it's okay then? Well, first of all, have you asked the guy? Do you want to debate? Or are you presuming? Maybe you have asked him. I don't know. I don't see any evidence of this. I just see a lot of hatred. Which is fair enough. I mean, generally people don't like white supremacists. So let's just zoom in. Make sure that it's center for the video. And there we go. So, we're going to go through it paragraph by paragraph. And move on from there. Some people see poetry in motion and a bird taking flight across a wide open sea, or a tree dancing in the wind. I see it in the clip of white nationalist Richard B. Spencer being sucker punched in the face by an anarchist. To me, that just seems like you're a very aggressive person. I think a lot of people see bird taking flight across a wide open sea, they think of peaceful thoughts, or a tree dancing in the wind, maybe the celebration of nature, but you see it in people getting hit. I think that may be an issue that you may have here. I'm just calling it out a bit. And we've also gone from Nazi to white nationalist. Now, there is a large difference between Nazism or fascism, depending on which brand you want to go for, and a white nationalist. I just want to put that out there. So using this catch-all term of Nazi generally doesn't help that much. So let's go on to the next one. In a moment of Fibonacci perfection, a member of the J20 Black Bloc emerges from the lower left-hand side of a shot of Spencer talking to a camera about his Pepe the Frog label pin, the anti-immigrant, anti-Semitic, and anti-feminist cartoon mascot of the alt-right. His right arm arches upward across the frame towards Spencer's face. and with the full weight of his body behind his clenched fist, he lands the meanest hook on his victim's jaw. So, as a fan of boxing, I mean, maybe you're not, but it was a really shit punch. And generally, if you want a street brawl, the thing is, if you watch boxing, or if you're interested in mixed martial arts or anything, generally, you've seen a lot more satisfying hooks than that. But that's just a small point. I find it kind of funny that Pepe the Frog, which is an internet meme, it is a picture which has been around the internet for at least 10 years now, and only recently, when the media started calling it alt-right and Hillary Clinton started calling it alt-right, it has become a mascot of the alt-right. Now, also, the alt-right is a very odd thing. I believe it does exist, and because of how the media has portrayed it, I think a lot of people have kind of lynched onto the movement and don't really understand what it is. But if you actually want to do some research, I would strongly recommend it instead of just looking up what the media tells you. I do not condone the alt-right. I think the messages are very clear in it. But the way it's always portrayed in the media is completely wrong. And that means that more people are pushed towards it, which is kind of interesting. Just like Richard Spencer. The reason Richard Spencer has so much fame is because of the media. The media needed a scapegoat to basically bash Trump on, which, you know, they're allowed to do. They can create them. They always do, whether it be just some random MP in Britain who has made a rash comment about a certain thing, or a politician who 30 years ago said something. The media will catch you, and they will basically hang you out to dry. And this whole thing with Richard Spencer has been this whole guilt by association. So they've been doing this a lot over the election of Donald Trump. They'll say something like the KKK endorses Donald Trump, North Korea endorses Donald Trump, white supremacists endorse Donald Trump. Do you want to be lumped in with them? You see what I mean? It's the fact that these people are endorsing him. And, well, he can't choose who endorses him. If you're going to say they endorse him because they share similar values, I mean, the only thing I'd say to that is you either endorse a candidate who hasn't badmouthed you that much. I believe Donald Trump has talked about the KKK being a horrible thing, which I think is the general view of most people. He doesn't agree with any of their values, but that's compared to Hillary Clinton, who said that they were a basket of deplorables, and from that statement you can take whatever you want from it. Basically, you can see, I mean, this is, as I said in the other video, it's something like Mark Blythe said. If you condemn all these people as racist, sexist, xenophobic, and all of this, what do you do with them after you win the election? Do you get rid of them? Do you gas them? What do you do with them? And it's kind of the same thing here. But anyway, the only reason Richard Spencer is anything is because of the media and their incessant need to try and label Trump supporters as this weird anti-immigrant, anti-Semitic, white supremacists, Nazis, all of this wonderful stuff, which unfortunately a lot has lost all meaning, especially when people who are definitely not those things get labeled those things. So, yeah, you're basically bagging on your own creation. Richard Spencer does not represent a lot of people, just like the KKK does not represent a lot of people. But for some reason, the media always focuses on it, because it makes the right look bad. And they do it on the left as well. You always have nut jobs from the left, especially anarcho-communists, that people can point to and say, hey, you're all like that. It's basically a game of looking at the extremists and saying who has the worst extremists and then working on that. But it doesn't work for general people. Or at least when we look at the figures in the trust in the media and everything like that in America, it seems to have at least worn off. But anyway, The hook wasn't very good. That landing, in my opinion, was second only to the one on the moon. Okay. Spencer stumbles to the right, followed by a scrum of cameramen with lightning reflexes, while the masked attacker springs back, temporarily stunned by his own magnificence, before running off into New York's urban sprawl. Now, even though this is a completely throwaway paragraph and basically you enlightening in the beating of somebody else, maybe not beating, but still smashed in the face, I wonder if you'd be alright if somebody just punched you in the face. And, you know, somebody wrote an article saying how wonderful it was watching this person smash them in the face. Yeah, I don't think it would work as well. But anyway, it's kind of funny when journalists decide that they know the thoughts of people. This is just more of a side point, like the whole, while the masked attacker springs back, temporarily stunned by his own magnificence before running off into New York's urban sprawl. Actually, no, there's two things to this paragraph. The first one is the fact that she's putting thoughts into a person's head. And, you know, that's something that the media has always done. And it's something that will never go away. They'll always describe motives, especially in the media that we have today, because it's very debate-focused. Basically, what will happen is Trump will say something, then you'll have one side of the panel saying, oh, he meant this horrible thing, and then the other side of the panel trying to rationalize what he said, even if it was a horrible thing. Basically, looking beyond the words. They're both looking beyond the words instead of just looking at the words. And it is an issue the media has, and it will always have this if it keeps this idea of having supposedly a balanced panel, especially in America. The other one is the fact that the media was looking for something, as it always does. So Spencer stumbles to the right, followed by a scrum of cameramen with lightning reflexes. So basically they were trying to get videos and pictures of him and stuff like that. I mean, he was there with a camera. He was there documenting the event. But for some reason, there's a bunch of people around him waiting for something to happen. It's odd, isn't it? It's as if they're looking for something. There was a photograph of the riots in America, and it was a burning trash can, and somebody took a picture of all of the photographers or journalists taking pictures of the trash can on fire, and it was about 20 photographers taking the picture, and I'm guessing they were going to run the story. Look how terrible this all is. Look how large the riot is because of this trash can. And it's just an issue with the media. It really is, once again. So, moving on. Opponents of the meme to end all memes say that in a democracy we should be able to vigorously debate our views free from the threat of violence. Socking one to a fascist will only serve to perpetuate divisions already present in the American body politic. To this I say, you try having a reasonable discussion with Richard Spencer. So the thing is, I've already said that debate is not really about the person you're debating. It is debating his ideas, not the person. It's debating what he actually thinks. And you are not trying to convince him of how to change his view. You are trying to convince the audience to understand where you're coming from and believe in what you are saying. It's never about the person. It is always about the ideas. And if you could get a debate with Richard Spencer, I think it would be wonderful. But I don't think anybody's tried. They've just basically said that he's a racist Nazi and therefore he's no use to anyone apart from the media who want to show how terrible Donald Trump is. But the thing is, the first sentence here, opponents of the meme to end all memes say that in a democracy we should be able to vigorously debate our views free from the threat of violence. Yes, you should. Because the thing is, if violence is involved, then people will stop debating certain subjects, no matter what it is. Let's say climate change. Right, climate change is kind of a hot topic right now, which only seems that people care about when Republicans are in office. But anyway, for me it should be a bipartisan issue. I don't understand why it is like that. But if you're having a debate on that, and somebody decided to torch the house because you're against the idea that it was man-made, do you think it would make people a bit worried about the fact that that person's house was torched? This is how it happens. If you start violently attacking people for their views, they don't lose the views. The views become much more centralized and believable to them. Because if somebody is attacking someone for their views, they will believe, or most of the time they will believe, that they are not in the wrong and there is a reason why they're attacking me for it. So they'll research more, they'll think, oh, they're against me because I'm right. It's how it always goes. It doesn't solve anything when it comes to this. And it is inherently fascistic, weirdly enough. Attacking people for their ideas instead of their actions is very fascistic. I just want to say that. Please read about pre-World War II Germany and basically 1930s Germany and what happened to the other political parties against the National Socialists. Just go and do it. Go and look at Stalin's Russia, or Lenin's Russia, or Mao's China. Go and look what happened when people started being violent to others because of their views. It didn't end well, and it never ends well, which is why people have to, even if you disagree or you think what they are spilling is hate, they need to be allowed to speak. Because for all of those who are able to speak and spread hateful ideas, you will have thousands and millions who don't. And if you attack that small percentage of people who have those, in your opinion, hating ideas, then you put the values and the rights of the millions in jeopardy because of it. Just try and look at it like that. If you target one specific group for something, that makes other people think they can be targeted by it. And when you use a nebulous term like Nazi, especially in this context, it can be applied to basically anyone who may answer a question wrong. So, yeah, it's not great. It really isn't great when we look at it like that, is it? But anyway, moving on. Debate is reliant upon an exchange between two rational actors. The alt-right, fascists, white supremacists, it's always a hard word for me, identitarians, neo-Nazis, the KKK, or whatever else they want to call themselves, aren't rational actors. In your opinion, in their opinion, they are rational actors. Do you see how this works? Do you see how it's an opinion-based game? In their heads, they are rational actors. They believe in what they think. Same with the Westboro Baptist Church. Same with radical Muslims. Same with any religion. Same with any idea. They believe they are in the right. Just like at the start of World War II, many generals under Hitler believed they were in the right. And then as the war went on, they realized that they may be in the wrong, but they couldn't do anything about it because of what Hitler had given them. They believed their power was because of Hitler, and therefore what Hitler believed was correct. If you want to look at it, I would strongly recommend it. There is a, a series on YouTube, and also I believe it was on the History Channel, called The Wehrmacht, and it goes into this, because a lot of generals were captured after World War II. They were taken to a house in England, and the whole house was wiretapped. So basically they just listened to what they were talking about. And they talked about how they didn't agree with a lot of views that Hitler had, but they realized that if they spoke out, or if they said something, then what would happen is they would be stripped of everything they had worked hard to get. And this is what will happen. If you start labeling people as Nazis and stuff like that, you will get a backlash. And then you will get people who follow them who may not believe in their ideals, but they believe that people shouldn't be violent. And then you look like the bad guys. It's as simple as that.